Welcome to the Nootropic Reviewer live stream. As you guys drop in here, make sure to let me know where you're from, and I'm going to update you on what's going on with me, as well as address some commonly asked questions that we're seeing. So what's new with me is I'm actually started to ingest Cmax once again. I think this is from Cosmic Nootropic. So this is probably one of the first nootropics that I've used where you have to take it through your nose, right? So it's a nasal, like a dropper. So what they suggest is you take 2 drops per nostril, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So this is Cmax. Then I've actually got some of their Silank as well. And how I feel so far, good levels of energy, better with social anxiety, social management. And I find that recall is slightly better. So I'm enjoying. I actually used to use Cmax back 7 or 8 years ago. And then just it came to a point that I started using Nupep and didn't you really see the need to take Cmax anymore. But I'm enjoying it. Some side effects or concerns people have around it are around increasing your levels of BDNF too much. And why that may be a bad thing? Well, not just raising your BDNF, but also the its potential side effect with which could be related to hair loss, but I really don't think it's that big of an issue. So that's Cmax. We're gonna look forward to using Silank again. And otherwise, I'm happy to say, like, my I get my blood work checked at least once a quarter for my thyroid levels, and my T3, my T4 seems to be good. It's a ongoing pursuit to make sure your thyroid levels are optimal, but you really want to have good thyroid. And I definitely would recommend that you get your blood work checked. Make sure that you don't have low thyroid. If you have low thyroid, it's going to be difficult for you to build muscle. It's going to be difficult for you to lose fat. I could be the only one, but I mean, having low thyroid, I've always felt that if you have high thyroid, it's better than having low thyroid. And just in terms of mood, then some of the side effects or some of the bad things with having a high thyroid is that you feel a bit of restlessness, bit of anxiety. It could be troublesome to sleep. What is up, Fallon's Fox? And I saw that you requested I did a video on pregnenolone. Man, I've researched a lot into that. We can talk about that now, actually. So pregnenolone is it's a hormone, and so does it make sense to ingest a hormone? That's for you to decide. It's the same conversation about should you potentially supplement with melatonin? Should you be supplementing with testosterone? But what you should know about pregnenolone is that there's no point really treating it or adding more pregnenolone to your system unless you do you get your blood work checked. Make sure that your pregnenolone levels are actually low. Then it may make sense to go ahead and supplement with them more. But if you are going to go ahead and do that, first fix the root cause. The root cause of low pregnenolone levels could be low vitamin A, low thyroid again, or a low consumption of LDL cholesterol. So it's very important to address the root cause, just like testosterone and building your testosterone levels. If you are somebody that's eating a low calorie diet, you're dieting way too often or doing some of these crazy diets you hear out there, likely it's going to be impacting your testosterone levels, likely for the worse. So keep these things in mind. And so don't have any questions just yet, but what's up, everyone? Other updates with me. I'm happy to say that my Aura Ring tracker has shown that I'm in my best state as far as stress resilience. Physically, my heart health, resting heart rate is actually lower, and that's something that you want to strive for, especially for those of you that are have anti-aging in your mind. You want to stay young, you want to stay youthful. It's that time for you. Then I would watch out for a few things such as your heart rate variability, right? That's important. It's a good measure of stress. You want to look at your actual sleep quality. So not just number of hours slept, but look at things like the deep sleep you're getting, the REM sleep that you're getting, the latency, these kind of things. Because if you're like falling asleep too fast, they say that you're somebody that is not well rested. And what else besides that? Resting heart rate, that's important. Lower resting heart rate is a good sign of athleticism. So I'm happy. I'm like 42, 43. I think 42 is my lowest reading resting heart rate. Ooh, and my HRV score, heart rate variability, is around 110 on average. Basically means I can tolerate a whole lot of stress, and I'm less likely to get into fight or flight mode. That's what you don't want happening. So somebody mentioned that, Michael, you should have rated 5-HTP higher. I wonder why. 5-HTP, the reason I wouldn't rate it highly is because I've always looked at it like putting a bandage over a problem, in the sense of 5-HTP, it gives this mood boost. Now, I'm not somebody that just wants to reach for a pill every time I need to improve my mood. I'd rather, okay, something bad happens, I want to improve my mood, find some sort of natural way around it. There are no like cognitive properties outside of it improving your mood, as far as feeling sharper, having better memory, better recall, things like that. No, that's what I would be looking for from nootropics, not just a temporary little mood boost. But with respect to mood, something I'm really enjoying, something newer, since we're trying to discuss newer things. Saffron, ingest saffron once a day. You can, I pretty much feel it the rest of the day that I'm in a slightly better baseline mood. So that's my thought about 5-HTP. And I did use it initially when I got started with it. I used it for a couple months and I like swore by it. I really liked it. Isn't that interesting that with a lot of nootropics out there, like your first month, you swear by it, but ask the same individual a year later and watch and look out for their opinion then. And the same thing can be said about pregnenolone, which I was talking about earlier, in the sense of people often like report really good feelings, but what about a year later? What about 5 years later? No. A lot of nootropics have lasted the test of time. But something very irritating I was thinking about with nootropics that I feel like is it's not talked about and acknowledged enough is there's just still not a lot of research on a lot of nootropics out there. And I hate to say it, but a lot of us are just learning from anecdotes. Like I learned a lot of my stuff from trial and error, from experiences, and also just browsing other people's experiences, like on Reddit. Because even now, like look at Noopep and Lion's Mane, for example. We have like no human studies yet. There's some of the most popular, there's some of the most popular substances out there. So there's something to be said about anecdotes. I know it's not the best thing, bro science, but it is what it is. So we can all benefit from all circulating information. And guys, I really appreciate those of you that drop comments on my videos, because that's useful information for me as well, that I can report back to all of you, and also useful for all of you to see. So, cool. So we got a question. A lion's mane started giving me headaches. Ouch. Something hasn't happened before. I used to take it just fine. Do you think that I should stop taking it? If it's like consistently giving you headaches, then yes. But a couple questions for you. How much are you taking of it? And did the headaches, like, did they just randomly start, or when did you start getting the headaches? Because if it could be such that you randomly started getting the headaches out of nowhere, then it could likely be that, did you add another nootropic in there? Did you adjust something differently in your diet or your lifestyle? And speaking of which, when we look at like levels of testosterone, like I get this question a lot about, Mike, you do a lot of reviews about testosterone boosting products. Why don't you ever do your blood work? Which is about it. Well, first, like I do my blood work because I check my thyroid, I check my testosterone, but it's also, you want to acknowledge the fact that I also go through a lot of lifestyle changes too, with respect to sometimes the intermittent fast. Sometimes I'm on a bulking diet. Sometimes I'm on a cutting diet. Sometimes I change something in my thyroid. So there's so many factors that would potentially be responsible for adjusting your testosterone level, and testosterone and evaluating your testosterone levels aren't easy. If you want to properly do it, you have to like go at the same time every morning and do it 3 days straight, which I've done in the past. Right. But what's so is, in any case, I'm not really expecting a lot of these testosterone supplements to increase my testosterone too significantly. If I were just to do something like tweak my diet for a couple weeks, it would make more of a difference than doing just that. So just because I'm somebody that like likes to play with different diets and stuff, and I like repeating like bulking and cycling, just kind of for fun, that's sort of the reason why. I don't think it's anyone can really be that accurate otherwise, because we gotta account for other variables. Perhaps if I had like a pretty like stable lifestyle and such, with work and everything and sleep, then I may consider doing my blood work for testosterone more commonly. But again, these are natural testosterone boosting products I'm talking about. You're not really supposed to feel anything too significant anyway. Don't expect to build another 2 inches on your bicep. Most of the testosterone boosting compounds are just going to really help you with your mood, and perhaps to some extent, maybe your joint health, maybe your sleep quality. I hope that's helpful. Any additional benefits you've noticed from lion's mane since your last video on it? Good question. Additional benefits, no, but to take a step back, like, what are the benefits that I had described lion's mane as? And I described it really good around mood, around fighting stress, around like just feeling more peace, more relaxed. Even make it such that caffeine and stimulants aren't as likely to give you the anxiety and the jitters, so you could just kind of feel a bit more level, but also more intrigued, more curious about things. Now, if anything, I noticed that the brand, like the brand, I've mentioned in the past videos that it matters so much to, like, it mattered a lot to use the 8-to-1 dual extract versus the 1-to-1. I would say Both of them are still decent, better than not having it at all. And otherwise, I may be building a little bit of a tolerance to lion's mane, so I strategically take some time off. I still don't believe that it really matters when during the day you take it, but if you were to ask other individuals, some people really enjoy taking it before bed. They experience like vivid dreams, better sleep. I'd love to know everyone else's feedback on that. Like if you use lion's mane before bed, but just quite often I'll use 200 to 300 milligrams. I don't really feel it like I used to in a sense of mood. But that being said, I'm also taking a lot more to help my mood, such as like ashwagandha, bacopa. I I really don't miss a day of taking ashwagandha or bacopa, and they do a lot for my mood. So it's difficult to say, but I'm enjoying it, and I've yet to try growing my own lion's mane, but I walk past it often in the grocery store. Isn't that interesting? Again, very little research on lion's mane. Look how much it's discussed. My favorite mushroom supplement by far. More like the first week honeymoon, second week it's back on the shelf. Yeah, a lot of nootropic supplements are like that, and we have to acknowledge the placebo effect. So hopefully we got some more good double-blind clinical trials. I'm on lion's mane, DHEA. I got that video coming out, DHEA as well, on that topic of pregnenolone and the videos you guys are requesting me to make. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to make this a nootropics channel. Everybody else wants me to make it some sort of hormone related channel. I'm going to go have to get my PhD just to satisfy a bunch of you. So it's it's very confusing for me because have we tapped out of the have we tapped out in like the are people less interested in nootropics now? Is it that people are more on a budget due to whatever's happening economically? Because I still have a love for nootropics. Maybe most of the viewers just got bored. So I'm on lion's mane, DHA, tonka, ali, tribulus, and CDP choline. Any other recommendations for this stack? Okay, cool. Depending on what you're using it for, I like the CDP choline. I like tonka ali better because I like alpha GPC better. Like tribulus. So I'm gonna say based on this, what you're looking to do is boost your testosterone levels, perhaps be a bit more sharper, be a bit more focused. And you can consider adding L-tyrosine. You can consider adding Nupep. Based on looking at this, but I don't know why you have lion's mane there because everything else is kind of related to being more focused and being productive. And lion's mane is the one where I wouldn't really say makes you more focused and productive. It kind of makes you more centered, or that's just most people's experiences anyway. So Nupep would be a really good one to address alpha GPC and some of the stroke related concerns about it. So because obviously there's been a lot of light that's been shed on alpha GPC and some of the stroke related concerns. So that all happened as a result of one study being published in 2021, I think 2021. So the study had looked at a population of 12 million people, but what we want to acknowledge was the subjects were all over 50 years old, so probably not practical for most of us. Second, they were in South Korea. We can assume that they were already eating a diet rich in choline, so they were taking more choline than needed. And third, that these were individuals that actually were prescribed alpha GPC. So we can assume that they were unhealthy for some reason or another. So we have no studies otherwise really showing that alpha GPC can perhaps cause a stroke. So I'm not concerned. I'm going to be continuing using my alpha GPC, and I would love to see it in this stack over here. Is there any cognitive benefit from agmatine sulfate? Very interesting one because some people use it for I always get confused when this happens. Some people use it for sleep. Some people use it for energy production and for better pumps. And agmatine sulfate is often going to be a product that you find in pre-workout products because it increases NO levels, nitric oxide. So I like agmatine sulfate. Do I continue to use it? No, but if I had it, I would use it. I just never went and got more of the stuff. So small dose is good. And it's interesting when you see like nootropics like this, which have opposite benefits for some people. It's like, I saw a nootropic blend posted on Reddit. It made no sense. They had I swear they had caffeine and melatonin and yohimbine and some other stuff. It almost looked like somebody went to like a nootropic factory and just took the leftovers. Like, why would you mix caffeine and melatonin? No logic whatsoever. Have you still been taking the racetams? I would, but I've just been using. I'm trying to click that. I've just been using piracetam and I've been using Nupep here and there. Nupep, just I have the powder form. I'm not as structured as I'd like to be about taking it. Took some today. Lion's Mane 8-1 was my first Nootropic Depot. Okay, I found it amazing. Then grabbed that caffeine L-theanine. Wicked. Oh yeah, both are great. So I've actually eliminated the use of L-theanine, and like since doing that, I don't think I'll go back on L-theanine for a long time. Even now, what bothers me is I just got a new pre-workout, and the pre-workout has some L-theanine. I don't like how it makes me feel. Maybe it's better if you're somebody that doesn't intermittent fast, but I intermittent fast during the most of the day. And I think that if we just like, I respond pretty well to caffeine. I don't get too much of a crash depending on how much I take. But if I take 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams, it's pretty predictable for me. I get motivated with L-theanine. I don't get motivated. I often get in my head. I don't feel like talking. I'm in an industry where I need to talk. I need to use my mouth. I need to be on the phone. And L-theanine was kind of preventing me from doing that. So I don't enjoy L-theanine that much. But thanks for sharing your experience with that. I really like the Lion's Mane 8-to-1 as well. It took my satisfaction of Lion's Mane to another level, although I still really enjoyed Lion's Mane. And I still do enjoy it. I have it from FreshCap. I think I'm taking it right now. I'm enjoying that. I took L-theanine about 6 p.m. the other evening, went to bed about 9 p.m., woke up the next morning, 3:30 a.m., felt like a hero all day. That's amazing. I would love to know if that same experience happened again. Because if with L-theanine, a lot of people don't like the inconsistency of it, and that they just can't get the same feeling every time, or sometimes they'll use it for a few days, really enjoy it, but don't enjoy the experience afterwards. But speaking of studies and research, L-theanine has great research out there. Pretty much nothing bad about it. It's relatively like safe, tolerable supplement for most individuals to take. Most likely good things are going to be happening, but has like really neat benefits cognitively, being sharper, being better at sports and such. Have you ever tried TAK 653? No, but you're welcome to tell me a bit more about it. Amazing. Thank you too. Phenylpiracetam hydrozide, what's your experience? What to stack with it other than choline sources? No, I have not tried that one, though I know it is popular because a lot of people can get their hands on it. I still enjoy the original phenylpiracetam, and so I try to take less, but man, I take about 100 milligrams under the tongue, usually twice a week. And so I think this is really important that when you're using strong supplements like this, just know ahead of time why you're going to be using them. Because once you use a very strong stimulant, that's it. Your judgment a lot of times is impaired. It's hard to take breaks. You want to be constantly staring at screens or fidgeting or doing something which involves movement. It's just hard to take a break, like reflect, have insights, relax a bit. So with phenylpiracetam, I'll use it on a day where I know I have a lot of tasks that are already there. Maybe I have to shoot video, maybe I have meetings. And so I'll typically use it like a Monday and a Thursday, and I really enjoy it in the sense of the physical energy. I think one thing really neat about phenylpiracetam, at the end of the day, when typically you're fatigued, you're tired, then you can really feel it working, if you know what I mean. Like the energy, the focus, the going through tasks, the multitasking, and like you're in a good state the whole time and not feeling fatigued. So it's something else. And I think we're out of questions unless somebody else has one. So I'm going to go back to these YouTube comments. 5-HTP. Yes, somebody commented, yes, DHEA is worth it. I'm 55 years old. The muscle building is more possible, I think they're trying to say. So that video just came out actually on DHEA. Which nootropics are the most tolerable under the tongue? Well, firstly, not a lot of them are taken under the tongue, but some of the common ones would be Noopept and phenylpiracetam. Phenibut, I like take on the rare occasions that I use Phenibut or Kana, for example. I've been playing around with for mood here and there. I use under the tongue and doesn't taste the greatest, but it's not horrible. What are you guys' thoughts about Kana, by the way? I've seen it in one of the Gorilla Mode products. I have some. It has like a brown texture. It kind of reminds me of soil, like dirt. But people feel in a better mood when they use it. Better, good with anxiety and such. Have you ever used Pika Million? No, I haven't, but I know that is definitely a popular one. And as we are in the summer, it is critically important that everybody stays hydrated, because eating water-rich foods is perhaps more important than drinking water when it comes to staying hydrated, and that has a really big effect on productivity and sharpness. So DHA, for me, somebody mentioned that I find lemon balm works stronger as a tea than a capsule. Is that right? And otherwise, I think for some individuals, they feel the same way about valerian as well. Like valerian root, it's in supplement form, but you also have it in the tea. Something which is really interesting is lavender, because lavender, there's like the oil, then they put the oil in the actual capsule, but you can use lavender in so many different ways for sleep. So I have a video coming on that. I found a pretty interesting compound. But get lavender everywhere. It shows like it's some pretty healthy stuff. What is the best supplement for OCD? Please make a video. Yeah, that's a really common question. Like, how do you really know? I really wonder, like, what it would be like to live with somebody with OCD. It seems interesting. So, N-acetyl L-cysteine is really popular. Taurine is popular as well. Some people like phosphatidylserine. Okay, cool. We just got all these questions about DHEA, but we just shot that video. I just don't think they've seen it yet. Is it safe to take alpha GPC long term? This again goes back to the study about the concerns related to alpha GPC potentially causing or making it more likely for you to have a stroke. I think you're okay. If you are concerned with it, garlic, fermented foods, probiotics, that'll be good. And as well with alpha GPC, I don't really feel like you need to take it on your days off work. It's not a supplement where taking it every single day, which would sort of have some cumulative benefit for most individuals anyway. So I typically will take more alpha GPC on days where I need more. Like then I'll take 200 milligrams, say 3 times a day, or sometimes just 2 times a day. Something I'm enjoying now, here and there, you all asked me about Wellbutrin and my experience with it. Wellbutrin being good for energy production, good for motivation, somewhat to some extent like an antidepressant, helps with weight loss and such. And so I'm using it like once to twice a week, and the withdrawals are nowhere as bad as I thought they would be. Like withdrawals are horrible. I remember when I came off Concerta used for ADHD. Maybe I was like misdiagnosed, but I used Concerta to help me focus for a few months. I got off of Concerta. It was a horrible experience. I was slow. I wanted to sleep. Didn't want to talk to people. Was reading like significantly slower. So I expected coming off Wellbutrin to be to some extent like that and being in a worse mood, but it's really not. It's interesting in the fact like I used Wellbutrin today and I could definitely tell it like my heart rate was up, my energy was up. So it was doing something, but getting off of it, I still feel okay. So that is definitely a positive. Just stimulants are super tricky. Always just keep in mind what goes up must come down. But not in all cases. I think that's why modafinil just took everybody by surprise, because modafinil is like the one substance people don't get withdrawals to. The next day they feel fine, and I think I feel fine in most cases. Just if anything with modafinil, something I've learned to have a good experience. The following, like knowing that modafinil is going to stay in your system and most likely keep you awake, I'll purposely sleep in the next day because I know melatonin. I know that modafinil is like messing up with my sleep, keeping me up a bit longer. So I typically just stay in bed a little bit longer in the morning. I mean, I have the privilege of doing that. I don't know if you all do, but then the next day just goes well, because if not, then if you're on a strict sleeping schedule and you sleep at the same time every day, if your modafinil is messing with your sleep, most likely you're going to feel a bit fatigued the following day. I've never had withdrawals with Wellbutrin. Yeah, that's nice to know, because it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong substance, just 150 milligrams XL, but great. Yeah, really, really great nootropic substance, whatever you want to call it. For me, valerian extracted with alcohol was pretty strong. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of warnings around valerian, like don't drive after taking it, which I guess makes sense. Phenibut FA, right if under the tongue. All right, from my experience, I found it most effective. Like 1 gram, probably with more of a higher dose than most people would be taking, but I pretty much just took the Phenibut for all of you. I had no interest in it whatsoever. Of course, I had some lying around. I tried different forms of it, but the Phenibut FAA, 200 milligrams did nothing for me. 600 milligrams, maybe a little bit. But 1 gram, wow. But the mistake that I made was using that with other stimulants, because I always thought Phenibut would just calm me down, lower my heart rate. Little did I know it would raise my heart rate. So that was a silly risk. But then, you notice the energy, appetite suppression. I didn't necessarily feel withdrawals after I stopped using, after like the following day afterwards, but some people do. So super interesting substance. And some people really enjoy it. Just tuned in, got my Tomcat Alley today. All right. Oh, sorry, I skipped someone. Mr. Q, I'm going to come back to you. I just tuned in. I got my Tomcat Alley today. What is the best way, I think you said, to take it during the day? Assuming you got the 2% urocominone, then from Nootropics Depot, which I think most people are using, take 200 milligrams with the largest meal of the day. But if it's your first time trying it, you've not used Tonkat Ali before, then 100 milligrams should be good. And then just make sure that you respond to it okay, because it's very common you take it and it's strong. Like I say, take it with a meal, but if I take Tonkat Ali and eat 20 minutes later, that 20 minutes between my Tonkat Ali ingestion and my meal is awful. Nausea, lightheadedness, feel so uneasy. And so you want to just consume it. I mean, like, wait a few minutes because you don't want the stuff like messing with your food when you're eating it, and have a big meal. Don't just have it with a protein shake. I made that mistake before in the sense of I would use my Tonkat Ali along with a protein shake when I was intermittent fasting. But no, I would like eat it with the meal rich in carbohydrates, fats, and protein. And then you should notice libido being up within the first week of using it, but stick to it every single day for like the first week or a couple weeks at least. And let me know how it goes for you. All right. I really like to boost my mood, focus, and motivation. I'm new to nootropics, but really like Lion's Mane 8 to 1, caffeine and L-theanine, and N-acetyl L-tyrosine, and D3 and K2 daily. Any recommendations to add? Wait, is this the same person from before who gave the same stack? No, it's somebody else. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that was the other stack somebody mentioned. Okay. It's a different stack. So we'll look at it properly. Lion's Mane 8 to 1, caffeine, L-theanine, N-acetyl L-tyrosine, D3. Any recommendations? Okay, cool. A couple considerations. I don't know about recommendations. I don't know why individuals would use N-acetyl L-tyrosine versus L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine is going to last longer, going to boost energy more, boost focus more. If anything, I like N-acetyl L-tyrosine that it hits you faster. But why would be? It's not that common you would actually mix L-theanine with L-tyrosine, with the exception of perhaps pre-workout. And I would consider adding alpha GPC just on top of this, because alpha GPC as a choline supplement just goes well with everything. People report feeling every nootropic better, and it's an important nutrient for the brain, for memory, for thinking, planning, skills, execution. Alpha GPC, there's even research showing that it boosts motivation. Not even during the day, it boosts motivation in the evening. How amazing is that? So that's something that you want to consider adding, and you can consider adding 10 milligrams of Noopep twice a day. That may be a good tweak. Outside of modafinil, which are your favorite all-day racetams? The only all-day racetam that I can think about is phenylpiracetam. Like, I've seen other individuals, like, they report feeling like they can ingest piracetam or oxiracetam or aniracetam, like feel it throughout the whole course of the day or feel it for a few hours. I never found them like that noticeable. Maybe I'm one of the unlucky ones. No, I wouldn't say that. Most people find them pretty subtle. There's just like that small portion, maybe 10% of people that, sure, they'll take like aniracetam, they'll really feel it. With oxiracetam, I find it like slightly stimulating, but nothing too significant to even affect me the whole day. It's more like you would ingest your oxiracetam, maybe like, feel like a little bit of a hit and then feel it for a few hours, but then that's it. And yeah, that's actually a really good topic. Like, this, it would be good when we discover like more nootropics that have a lasting effect throughout the whole course of the day, like not just for a few hours. Because most nootropics, unfortunately, I'm benefiting more by having a smaller dose and having it twice a day. Whereas a lot of people would take like Bacopa or rhodiola rosea 500 milligrams once a day, just like that. But I find that it benefits me a lot more just taking 300 milligrams twice a day, space them apart. Cool. I bought Alpha GPC and B6 from Nootropics Depot. Awesome, but you haven't taken yet. All right, let me know how it goes. And all right, yeah, definitely take Tonkat after eating. Yep, and I don't think it matters too much whether you take it early in the day or in the evening, but I've yet to experiment using Tonkat Ali like prior to working out and seeing how it goes. Just given that I work out in the morning and then I typically break my fast there afterwards. Though I would guess it might make your workout slightly better. When it comes to working out, like the placebo effect, it's like any little thing helps. Cool. I go long times without phenibut, but when I take it, I like to take it 2 times a week. And on the days off, I take fasiracetam with the choline source. Cool. I like that. Like, I like the idea of on days when you're taking less stimulants or less of these stronger substances, just having some sort of, or add some other nootropics there that can kind of balance out, because they're working on different neurotransmitters. Meanwhile, you can reset your tolerance, right? A bromontane is also a nice Cool. Yeah. Your thoughts on mushroom extracts starting to trend? Are they starting to trend? Well, it's also the fact that so many other nootropics are no longer available, or the FDA is coming out and saying we can't use that. So what other choice do we have? That's how like maybe it's one way to look at it for all the nootropic and biohacking enthusiasts. But I think most people, when it comes to nootropics, it's an intimidating topic, though. If they know they're just consuming mushrooms, and there's of course like like slightly more research being put out on this. You often will flip through magazines, you'll see an article or two about mushrooms. Do I think they're all that effective? Maybe not cognitively, but health wise, anti-immunity, anti-inflammatory, longevity, I think they're good. So it's a good thing. Not sure what that question means. Underrated nootropics that help lose the last bit of fat on the belly. Green tea extract, that's a good one. Just don't take it in a fasted state. You'll feel similar to how you feel on Tonkat Alley. Caffeine is going to be great. So don't just use caffeine to blunt your appetite, but understand it actually raises your metabolism. So something you may want to do is, say if you're dieting, you can only lower your calories so much. So let's say you start your diet off at 2,000 calories a day, and then you keep on dropping, go like 1,600 calories a day, which I wouldn't recommend unless you're somebody smaller. That's not a lot of food. That's when you may want to consider introducing some caffeine in there, because caffeine is going to help that way. And it also can improve insulin sensitivity, meaning you're going to be more likely to have a body composition which is more muscle, less fat, and it'll also help you with your workouts. Now, something you can do if you're getting really lean, like this is for men, if you're trying to get below 12% body fat. For women, probably if you're trying to get under 20% body fat, is you can consider using yohimbine, which I've talked about on my YouTube channel. And if you use yohimbine and use it in a fasted state, especially along with caffeine, it really targets that stubborn area. Like the first time I wanted to get abs, and I'm not somebody that's naturally lean. I have to work to be this lean, which is probably why I haven't built a lot of muscle. It's like I'm already trying to like my body already hates this, the state I am as it is when I did diet below 10% body fat in the past, I used yohimbine, and that really just helps you to lean out those stubborn areas. Like for men, lower back, thighs. I think for women, a lot of like arm fat that happens to be stubborn. So yohimbine's great. Just be mindful. It's pretty bad side effects with it. So just start with one capsule, like super small, if you are going to go ahead and use it. And never use yohimbine before a workout or before a high intensity interval training. It's like for slow, like LISS, low intensity steady state cardio. Best nootropic for gaining strength in the gym that isn't creatine. Ooh, I like that question. For gaining strength in the gym that isn't creatine. Well, caffeine has pretty much the most research backing its performance when it comes to lifting weights, but also this is really cool. I read the study on alpha GPC, and it was like alpha GPC helps your strength on isometric exercises, which means it helps your strength on exercises where you're not moving. What's an exercise where you're not moving? Any volunteers in the chat? What's an example of an exercise where you don't move? Because that's alpha GPC. I want to see if I can find the study and maybe even screen share it. Isometric. Okay, I guess nobody's gonna answer. A plank. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, here the effect of 6 days on alpha GPC on isometric strength. So that's a good one. L-tyrosine, that's also important. Now with some of these other ingredients like citrulline malate, beta alanine, taurine, and such, I don't know if they necessarily improve your strength as much as they're just good for recovery. Oh, somebody actually got it. Yeah, or like maybe hanging off of a pull-up bar or something. But that's something to acknowledge when you're looking at pre-workout products, is that they're not only designed for helping you to like build strength or having a better workout, but more so it's around recovery. And so what a lot, excuse me, what a lot of people report is feeling less muscle soreness. That's could be a sign that you have better post-workout nutrition as well as pre-workout nutrition. And yeah, a lot of people just don't respond well to creatine, or they have some sort of fear of creatine, which is interesting. Some supplements I found useful for fat loss. Cool. MCT oil. Yeah, MCT oil, it's so confusing. Like, how could a saturated fat be good for fat loss? But I think it also does depend, of course, like every individual is different. Also, that it depends how much weight you have to lose. when you're trying to lose that last 5 to 10 pounds, I mean, it really matters. Like the foods you eat, you can argue matter, and that some people respond better to other foods than not. Like some people, they just really have a difficult time, even if they decrease their calories, having processed foods and still losing fat, or having saturated fat, for example. But when you're overweight, I mean, you can get away with anything. You just exercise a little bit, you'll lose some weight. Some supplements may help. They say drinking alcohol is liquid courage. Any nootropics that help confidence, like talking to girls. So a lot of people would say phenibut. I'm saying that a lot today. A lot of people. I don't know why. Phenibut is the most common nootropic that you'll come across when people are looking for like a substitute to alcohol. Let's say they're going to a party and they're like, I don't want to drink, but what's something I can take to feel like kind of in state and be okay talking to people? So phenibut, like 3 to 500 milligrams of the FA form is good. But for me, I actually really like lion's mane for this purpose. In the sense of lion's mane, you're far less attached to things, circumstances. You're just calmer about it. You're a bit more like your thinking is more long term about everything. I'm like, what does this really matter in the grand scheme of things? Like you ask yourself that question a lot with lion's mane. So it's like positive self talk, less negative thinking. And nothing's like personally, nothing's been as effective as lion's mane for me. So the thing with ashwagandha, it may calm you down, but with ashwagandha, you also just don't care. So you wouldn't really care to talk to people in the first place. What is the best for artistic creativity? I would consider avoiding stimulants, because stimulants for a lot of, or just know yourself. So sometimes you ingest stimulants, you feel a bit more creative, or you're like, you have more courage. But in a lot of cases, it just makes you so focused on doing the exact same basic things that you're used to in your habits. So some of the ones that I enjoy for creativity are ashwagandha. I like the KSM 66, like 300 to 500 milligrams twice a day. I really enjoy that. And I enjoy alpha GPC, and I enjoy lion's mane. And besides that, nothing too significant. Again, just watch the stimulant intake. And also, a lot of individuals feel more creative when they're fasting. Something could be, there could be something to be said about that. Yeah, aniracetam could be good for creativity. I could see that. Yeah, aniracetam, unlike oxiracetam or Nupep, which again, they just boost your focus pretty significantly. And guys, I got what is going on next week. So next week we have a video coming up on a very exciting topic, and that is valerian roots. We're going to be sleeping magically. That's the idea. I appreciate all of you. Make sure to drop a like. And as always, I'm going to respond to questions that you drop on the comments on my videos. I so appreciate you guys doing that, because when you're doing that, it's benefiting us all, helping me, helping the other viewers. So keep on sharing your experience. And let me know if you need anything. And I appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.